Hi, welcome everybody in this webinar. In today's webinar, we are going to talk and to present about our summer release, that is version 246. And let's go straight to the agenda. We have here 4 items. The first one is giving you information regarding compatibility. The second item is showing you the new functionality and enhancement in the new version 246. Then we are giving you an outlook to what we are planning in the next version 247, which will be our winter release coming around and the beginnings next year 2021. Then we are opened for your question and answers. Let's go to the first items. Here we are showing you some compatibility issue that you need to consider when you upgrade to this version. So in general, we are keeping the API and all the functionality compatible from the old version to the new version, so we are not changing, for example, an API parameter. When we change, then we are adding a new version, so the API will get a new version like /v3/v4. But some situation we cannot handle, like for example a pick list value that we need to add for a new field. This is something that when we upgrade, Salesforce doesn't take the new pick list value and upgrade and create a pick list value. So this is something you need to create yourself after the upgrade in the new version. And here's an example for the message type field and the I structure, where we have defined data types for handling WSDL or JSON and XSD data type. And the other thing is that the message type that we have here support database.procedure or database table, and also SAP message type. Therefore here some example for message pick list value. And the second example is that we have here built an enhance the screen in the inbound and outbound section of the interface, and here you can search by the interface name, by a real business name and not by a technical name, SKYVVA name that is starting with I 2020 16 11 so on. So this is a not meaningful name. It is an ID, and this is in the last version we are using the ID, and you can only see the ID. But here we are switching and we are enhancing the screen to search by name. And this is something after the upgrade, it is not populated automatically by the upgrade function from Salesforce. And here you need to add the layout. So the layout is not upgraded. You need to add the screen enhancement into your layout. And this is something that you need to go to our release note and check for more information that we publish there, what you need to enhance, what you need to add as pick list value, what you need to add in the layout so that you have the latest screen. So that was the compatibility issue. We don't have much because we keep everything compatible from the old to new version. Now let's go to the main point, the second point, where we are presenting you here the new functionality and what we have enhanced. So let's see, the first one is the new ANY Connect. This is something new and redesign, a new architecture where we want to be able to create many connector using open source so that we can build in a very quick way additional a new connector. Then we have enhanced the SAP ERP adapter. We have created a new adapter for S/4HANA because you starting moving from SAP ERP to SAP HANA or to SAP HANA Cloud, and therefore we have built a new adapter here. We have enhanced the SAP PO adapter. We have also enhanced the SAP CPI adapter, and we have worked to support more data type to import and export message type. So let's start with the first function. Here this is the ANY Connect. Like you see here in this screen, the ANY Connect is something that enables us to build quickly a connector and connect to any system. Therefore, we are using the Apache Camel because Apache Camel is an open source library, and it allowed us to deploy on a multi operating system and even on the cloud. And we can use the so-called component from the Apache Camel marketplace and can build adapter based on that component very quickly. And the component marketplace right now contain around 100 and plus connector. Like you see here some example to Jira, Zendesk, Sage, and DocuSign, GateSuite, Facebook, and so on. So there's a lot of component that's available that we can customize, that we can build on top of that and put into the ANY Connect framework from SKYVVA, so that we can provide you a new connector. What we have built in this version, into the first version of the ANY Connect, is the technical adapter file, FTP, SFTP, FTPS, database, then the event-driven platform like Apache Kafka, Apache Pulsar, SOAP, and REST web services. What we plan is, for example, ActiveMQ, RabbitMQ, planning to support queuing system. So now I had a closer look to the architecture. Here we have the Salesforce side, where we have our SKYVVA service layer with different connector that you know already here. And here we have the ANY Connect on this side. Then we have the ANY Connect, which is have an internal technical name that is called agent. And in this picture, it is like installed on-premise. So we have a firewall in the middle. Then we have here the endpoint of the agent that we can use from Salesforce side, from the SKYVVA component sitting on Salesforce side. And then we are sending data through a transformation and data protocol so that we can pass to the connected application. And on the way back, we have a SKYVVA connector inside the agent that is able to connect to the SKYVVA API, that is able to leverage to use the SKYVVA API, get data from the other external system that is connected to the agent, and can pass the data to Salesforce. Let's see here what we can do with the database connector. Here we have here the endpoint that we are calling from Salesforce, and here we are calling it is a producer because we are write data into the database. What can we do? We can insert record into database, update, delete, select data from the database, and call a stored procedure. So this is the data that we are pushing from Salesforce out and do the CRUD operation on the database side. For the other direction, we are reading data from database using a scheduler. So you can schedule to read the data every 5 minutes or to read data only on certain days, certain time. That is possible. And it is also possible to do it on demand. We provide you a manual processing where you can execute the interface, and the interface will read data from database and push to Salesforce whenever you want, on your demand, when you click on the button to execute the interface. So what can we do here? We are reading data, so we are selecting data from the database, or you can use a stored procedure and invoke the SKYVVA API. Then the data that is arriving to Salesforce, we can insert, update, delete, select, and do a complex business logic using Apex class or using our enhancement functionality if you are going beyond the CRUD operation with the insert, update, delete, and select. Let's come to the file FTP, SFTP, and FTPS connector. So here again, the architecture is similar. We have here the adapter endpoint that we need to invoke from SKYVVA on the Salesforce side. And here we have the producer direction again, because we are producing data, meaning that we are pushing data from Salesforce and we are producing file, writing the record into file and store it in this, for example, in a local file or on an FTP server, an SFTP server, and FTPS server. For the other direction, we have the consumer, and the consumer is a listener. The consumer is an event-driven listener, so that you don't need to operate with a scheduler or push manually some on a button that you don't need. The new architecture allowed us with Apache Camel to build a listener, a consumer. So whenever a file arrives into a certain folder which you have defined in the adapter properties, it will pick up immediately and send to SKYVVA, and SKYVVA will process data on Salesforce side, like upsert, delete, and do the business functionality. Here the same is with FTP, so we can listen. The event is also capable to work with FTP, SFTP, and FTPS. The file format that we support out of the box is CSV, XML, and Excel. We can also support an unstructured data, but with an unstructured data you need to use Apex class on the SKYVVA side to build the business logic, what you want to do with the unstructured data, because unstructured data you cannot use a mapping tool anymore. But we are able to support unstructured data, whatever the data is, like a Word document, a binary, and so on. So you can also push data that is not XML, that is not CSV, that is not Excel. That is possible. Let's come to the Kafka connector. Here we have the Kafka as an application system, is an event-driven platform. So Kafka is used in the pattern, to follow the pattern like publish and subscribe. So whenever you need to publish something, you need a topic like an invoice or a customer topic. You are creating different topics, and then you can publish message into the topic, or you can read message from the topic. So the first scenario is publishing. This means that you can publish data from Salesforce using the producer functionality here to a topic. Then external application or subscriber that is around Kafka, connected to Kafka and subscribe this topic, will get the message automatically. So our job is to publish the message, the event, into a topic. On the other side, we can use the other way around when the external application or the application playing the role as a producer. It's put data, it put event into a topic, into a queue. Then we are playing the role as a consumer in this case. So whenever something is putting into this topic, we get it. We get it real time. We get it immediately because we can subscribe this topic using the SKYVVA consumer with Apache Kafka. So with these two patterns, producer pattern like publish, consumer pattern like subscribe, you can build an event-driven architecture with integrations. So that is something modern if you have such kind of application like Netflix, like YouTube, like Facebook, that you want to subscribe something, you don't want to send to everybody your message, but you just want to publish into one central place, and 1,000, 10,000 subscriber will get immediately the data. So you don't need to send to 10,000 different receiver system. You just want to publish to one topic. And so you can build an event-driven architecture for integrations. The Pulsar Connector work in the same way, and the difference between Pulsar and Kafka is because there's two event-driven platform here provided by Apache Kafka, by Apache, so you can choose which platform you are using. So you need to analyze which platform, which event-driven platform is fit better to your requirement. You can use Pulsar or you can use Kafka. We support both event platform at the moment, and here the functionality is the same because Pulsar is also based on a publish and subscribe pattern. So you need to define different topics here. Here, example again, invoice topic, customer topic, and the first scenario is that we are playing the producer. We can push data from Salesforce into a topic in Pulsar. Then external subscriber will get immediately the data that we have pushed from Salesforce. On the other side, we are playing it in the consumer with that a producer put the data into the topic, and we as a consumer will get the data immediately. So here, in the same way, you can build an event-driven architecture. Let's have a look to the SAP connector. Here you can see that the agent is running in the DMZ in a local network, and that you can have a backend application here like SAP, Business One, Oracle, or whatever application that you have designed, and that you have used the web service technology because it is modern, it is lightweight, and you don't want to use legacy proprietary protocol like RPC. So you are going to an API design pattern. Then your application may be provide an API that is written in SAP protocol because SAP exists longer already. So you have a lot of application that is based on SAP API. Then you need to consume this SAP API. So how can we do that? We can use the agent SAP adapter here, which is running on the agent, and we can consume the local API inside your enterprise. The other way around is that you can also invoke the SKYVVA API from your web or from your application and send data to Salesforce as well. So here it is designed to use for local SAP API. In the same way, you probably have modern application that you have designed last year, and you are moving from SAP API to use a REST API because REST API is more lightweight, is more performance than SAP API. It fits better to your new technology. Then you can use a SAP REST API, and your application would provide a REST API, and with the agent REST connector you can consume the REST API. So just let me repeat that we also have here inside Salesforce itself also the SOAP and the REST API. But the SOAP and the REST adapter that you are using here on Salesforce is to connect or to call SOAP or REST API that is accessible through the internet, that you can access from Salesforce from the Salesforce cloud to another cloud. That is, if it is the case that the API, the web service, is publicly available through the internet, then you don't need to use the agent. Then you can use directly the SOAP connector and the REST connector that is sitting on Salesforce platform. So the agent REST and SOAP connector is to be used in case you have local API, you have enterprise application inside your network, and you don't want to make it publicly. You don't need to make it publicly, because you can use the agent as a middleware, as a gateway that access the API, the local API, and connect with Salesforce. And this is the use case when it comes to use the agent, because you don't want to make your API publicly available because you don't need it. You use your API only in your environment, only within your enterprise. You don't want to make it publicly available through the whole internet. Here we see here the internet zone and the local network zone. Okay, that was the ANY Connect. Now let's jump to what have we done with the SAP. Here we have enhanced the SAP connector. We have switched from the SOAP technology to the REST technology. That is the main redesign, and we have redesigned to add cache here, a runtime cache on the SAP side, because we want to speed up the processing. When we process on the SAP side, we need metadata like interface integration, what is the setting on the interface, the package side, and so on, and the mapping data. So we need all of that, which is called metadata, that we cache in the runtime, and this is, we have built that cache and in the new architecture. So here we see the deployment where the SAP is directly open to Salesforce. So Salesforce can access directly through reverse proxy or forward proxy, the other direction, to Salesforce. So it is a direct connection. There's no any middleware or gateway in between. This is the first option that you can use the SKYVVA SAP ERP Connector. The second option is that you can use the agent as a gateway, because you don't want to open the firewall from the internet to your SAP system. If that is the case, because you need more secure application set up, and you want to have something in between like a middleware, like a gateway, then you can use the agent, where we have built here the API to invoke SAP, and on the other side to connect to the SKYVVA on Salesforce side. And this is the enhancement that we have done in this version. Let's come to the S/4HANA new connector. Here we see here the cloud deployment of S/4HANA, so we can connect to the S/4HANA cloud and using the S/4HANA connector on the Salesforce side. And here we need the API, a REST or SOAP API from S/4HANA, so that we can invoke. And if you write a program yourself in S/4HANA, then you can invoke the SKYVVA API to push data to the SKYVVA API. That is the other way around. So here is the on-premise deployment. For the on-premise deployment, you have also the same option like SAP ERP, that you don't need to use the agent as a gateway. You connect directly between SAP, between Salesforce and S/4HANA. But you have here the same setup, that you put the agent in the middle as a gateway to secure more the communication between S/4HANA, on-premise, and Salesforce. Let's come to the SAP PO. Here we have enhanced to be able to support the REST adapter in SAP PO. We have not done before, because before SAP PO in the lower version like 7.1, 7.30 doesn't have the REST adapter, and the REST adapter is coming from 740, 750, so that now we support the REST adapter, and you can choose which adapter on SAP side you want to connect, you want to use. So you can use the SOAP adapter, or now you can use the REST adapter. That is the enhancement that we have done for SAP PO. Let's see what we have enhanced for the CPI adapter. For the CPI adapter, we support one mode only at the moment. You can do a real-time integration between CPI and Salesforce, bidirectional. Now we have added a batch mode, so that you can handle more than 200 records per API call. So you can send 1,000, 10,000 of record. We will put it into a batch and create a file on Salesforce side, and then we process in an asynchronous way in Salesforce after we have received the batch data. So first we are creating the batch data using files in Salesforce, and then we process it. So we are not sending and waiting record by record here. We are batching the requests. Okay, so now let's move to the last point that we have enhanced here. Here you see that we have in the early version we are supporting different data type already, data file describing format already, like XSD, XML, that you can create a message type, and the message type is needed to map the data, to transform data from Salesforce to the external application, or from external application to Salesforce. And we have supported JSON and WSL, and now we have enhanced to support a database like a stored procedure or a table. We can generate the metadata and then use it for the interface mapping. And we have also support SAP, BARP, remote function call, and IDOC. That is now done. That is the enhancement. On the other side, when we need to give you the data structure so that you can invoke us using the standard format, we have now enhanced to support Swagger 2.0 and OpenAPI 3.x. And we are planned for new and data structure, that is our data format or upcoming data format that will come in future. So we will also support all of them when we see that it is required on the market for integration. At the moment we don't have any plan here. You see here is question mark, so we don't know what will be evolved coming in the future. But at the moment, with all of this data description format, you are fine. That's what is supported right now. Okay, that was the new function and the enhancement in our summer release 20 in the version 246. Let's have a look what we will plan for the next version, for the winter release 2021. Here, as you can see, we will add a small connector to our ANY Connect, like GMS, ActiveMQ. We will build different additional SAP connector like SAP Business One, SAP Business by Design, then Microsoft Dynamic, and we will enhance some mapping functionality that we have seen in the last few months that you need some enhancement, and we are working on the new data loader because our old data loader use Flash, Adobe Flash, to support the mass manual load, and this we are replacing with a new technology, and then build a new data loader, also redesign a little bit the screen, and this is the plan for the next release, winter 21. So we are coming to the end. Let's have a look here for the upcoming blog or webinar. So that is here the plan, that our plan is the next release. And let's have a look to our YouTube blog, where you will see here the Pulsar adapter that we will publish, and showing you how to build the Pulsar, to use the new Pulsar adapter. Stay connected, stay updated with us in different social media channels here. You can follow us in one of these social media channels.